All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to a brand new show here on the Sports Fan Base Network, Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. I am your host, Chet, and to my right is my wonderful counterpart, Duffy. Duffy, how are we doing today, my man?
What up, Chet? I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to take our talents to a different kind of broadcast. Me and you. I've done about 30 plus episodes of a podcast, First Things Last, on SoundCloud, but I'm excited to actually get in front of a camera and just do what we were doing, talk some football and have a good time.
Yeah, talking football, talking sports. That's what we're going to be bringing here to you folks across Rhode Island and hopefully across the region in New England. So basically the show Unapologetic, we're going to cover topics, whether it's football, NBA, NHL, MLB. We're going to try and cover all the controversial topics, set it up debate style, and really get into the nitty gritty. Because you know what? We don't care about feelings. We don't care.
We don't care about feelings. Our takes are our own opinions, and we're here to talk some sports and let you guys know what's good.
Basically, we're bringing it to you live here from the Sports Fan Base Network. So to start out, let's just, for the pilot episode, get to know us a little bit. So my name is Chris Hetu, but you will know me as Chet. I am a senior here at the University of Rhode Island, and I am a communications and film double major. And I actually first started out doing podcasting back in 2018 with my show that Duffy just mentioned, First Things Last, where we did something similar, except it was a little more tamed. It was more announcer style, and we would go and just talk mostly NFL. We did get MLB and NBA in there, but we're trying to really diversify our content here. Absolutely. On Unapologetic, and really dig into each other and dig into these teams and these players and these coaches. We don't care. We're really just getting into it. So Duffy, why don't we hear what you have to say? What's your story, bud?
So I'm Tim Duffy. Duffy is my surname. Yes, I'm Tim Duffy, sophomore at URI. I've been doing a podcast with Chet, Chris Hetu, for the last year and a half, almost the last 3 semesters, and to really do a lot of work together. A double major in communication studies and marketing at the U. And me and Chris, we found about this opportunity. Chris, Chet actually told me about it and wanted to take our talents to a different kind of platform. And we're excited to get to do this work together. Me and Chet have been playing Madden together for the last
years now. Years. Since Madden 13, I'm pretty sure we've been playing, and it's just been nuts. Yeah. I'll tell you. It gets heated. I've thrown my headset and my controller a few times because you know what? It gets emotional. Sports gets really emotional.
You've kicked me from our franchise league.
I did.
You in the playoffs.
You still hang that over my head, dude.
Because I asked you about it at church the following Sunday, and you wouldn't admit it to me. So you were like, nah. But,
I was too proud. Because you know what? I'm a winner. I do what it takes to win. And you know what? If it takes to kick you out of the league to get me that win next season without you, I'll do it. And I did. And you know what? I had fun. I still had fun. But you know what? We're past that.
We've had a lot of fun together, We've had a lot of great memories. And, back then, commentating our old Madden games over the mic, being a couple of, aspiring broadcasters. And now we're 7-8 years later, got our own show on this amazing brand new Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island, platform. And
and shout out to Ron Robert. Thank you, my man. Really appreciate the opportunity to really bring some sports to the show and bring some new content because that's what we're all about. And I'm really excited to get started here, So basically we'll go into a little bit about the Patriots because as you can see from the jersey, the hat, and including Patriots country flag in the background.
Background too, yeah.
I'm a diehard Pats fan, so the Patriots finished at 7-9 this season. Duffy, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Disappointing season, and cut the Patriots streak of 11 straight playoff appearances. I think it was like 18 in 20 years, something like that. It's safe to say the dynasty might be over now without Brady, but at the end of the day, we're always going to be Pats fans, and we've had a lot of hate over the years. All these Pats fans are going to leave after Brady leaves. All the bandwagon is going to come to light. And no, I was thinking about today. I was like, I love this team as much as I always have. And even despite the terrible season, very underwhelming year, especially after the hot start the Patriots did have starting at 2-1 this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely had more hopes for the team at the start of the season than obviously where it ended, because I mean, Cam Newton coming in, new quarterback, something I've never experienced as a Patriots fan. Tom Brady has been my idol since I was 5 years old, since I could actually remember.
Yeah, except for that little Deflategate suspension, that was that's the only little time we've had another quarterback start.
Yeah. But then Jimmy Garoppolo, not bad for the time being. But I mean, regardless, sticking with this season, definitely interesting because Cam Newton gets us our first win in Miami. Then we go to Seattle, nearly win that. We talked about this a lot too. How we're on the 1 yard line, I believe.
1 yard.
And on 4th and goal, they run that same play that the Seahawks had never been able to stop the entire night. It's whiffed, and the game ended, but people were going ballistic. I remember talking to a friend that I have in ESPN, and he was telling me, he's like, this is our guy. I mean, this really is our guy.
Yeah. He did 397 yards that game. So we had a lot of
crazy.
Everyone had high hopes for Cam Newton, and
the hype was there.
Obviously on that 1 year contract, getting the veteran minimum, a lot of incentive, very incentive-based contract for Cam. And after that game, I think a lot of our expectations were super high. Coming down to the 1 yard line against a team in Seattle, Russell Wilson, the time being, was leading MVP candidate for the first 5, 6, 7 games of the year, probably the first half of the season almost. And after going to Seattle, almost winning that game, only losing by 5 points, you think, wow, this Patriots team, they can still compete with anybody. But then, obviously trickled down a little bit afterwards. Had some tough games. Cam got COVID-19. So we're going to remember this season a lot by the coronavirus. Gillette Stadium in the background. Empty seats, very microcosmic of what we saw at every Patriots home game this year. And just disappointing, after Cam got coronavirus, contracted the virus, I think that really kind of halted the momentum we had going into, week 4, week 5, 2-1, being a couple good teams in Miami and Las Vegas. Obviously losing 3 of the next 4 games, and they've really recovered after that.
And then fast forwarding throughout the season, basically just to get a glimpse of it, we host Denver. Cam Newton still has COVID. We lose a game 18-12 in a game that we definitely should have won.
That was the turning point of the year. After that game, kind of just like, man, the bar is really going to be set low for this team. For me,
it was just an avalanche of crap. That's all it was.
At the time being, it was kind of like maybe it's just maybe a trap game per se, because low scoring game could have won the end. And then next week, you had the I think it was San Francisco was the week right afterward.
It was, in which they were completely torched, completely blown out, completely embarrassed. And at that point, I just remember talking to my dad, and I was just like, I don't really have any hopes for this team right now. I don't know what the deal is with them. But then you move further down the road. They get a big win against Baltimore at home. Then they go to LA, completely shut them out, 45-0. And then they stay there and lose the next week. And at that point, I was like, I don't know. This team's too inconsistent for me to really.
That's the perfect word for it. It's just inconsistency. They had a lot of surprising wins this year. They, like we were talking about, a yard away from being Seattle. They beat the Baltimore Ravens at home, absolutely shut down, Lamar Jackson and all of them. And even the Arizona Cardinals game, winning at the buzzer 2017, a game in which Cam Newton only threw for 84 yards. And that was kind of a recurring theme of the season, was the passing game was just not getting the job done, but defense and running game kind of stepped it up. We needed them to, but that couldn't happen week in, week out. And that's, I think, was one of the reasons why the Patriots were just so inconsistent this season.
If I had to reward this Oscar to one player on the Patriots, it's going to go to Damian Harris, my friend.
That's for best player or best actor in a motion picture?
For best player. So, I mean, he's not going to get an NFL Offensive Player of the Year award. He's going to get this plastic Oscar that I bought off Amazon.com. So, Damian Harris, congratulations. You were definitely one of the most consistent players on the team this year. Enjoy it.
He runs hard, Those games against Buffalo, a game that the Pats should have won too in Buffalo, only losing by 3 points, and Cam Newton fumbled at the end of the game. We didn't talk about that, but that was another huge game this year. That game was kind of one of the first games I asked Damian Harris, and I was like, wow, this guy is the back of the future for this football team.
Absolutely.
Every single carry, you're thinking 5-6 yards at least. He's always moving forwards. to extend for as many yards as he can. He's such a strong runner. He's one of those big Alabama running backs who just never gives up.
Pummels people.
That's how the football they have. You know, we see guys like Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, you know, guys like TJ Yeldon coming out of Bama too. You know, fighting for every one of those yards. And Damian Harris is a great example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, looking towards the offseason, this team has a lot of needs it needs to figure out. The defense obviously was in shambles towards the end of the season with injuries and, of course, people opting out due to unsurety of the COVID-19 regulations. So I think one of the top positions they really need to look at going into this offseason, besides quarterback, tight end.
Tight end, absolutely. And has not been the same since Rob Gronkowski left. Obviously, you know, we've had an array of tight ends last year. I think Matt Lacoste was our best tight end.
Ryan Izzo was the number one.
He had a touchdown at one point in the year, I think, against the Washington last year. I know
he had one this year, I'm pretty sure, too. And I think it might have been from Stidham.
May have been. They drafted Devin Asiasi, who didn't even record a catch until week 16, I believe. So, no, they attempted to get a tight end, but you know, there's some good tight ends this year in the draft. You know, Pitts out of Florida. They have the Pats have the 15th pick in the draft, I believe. So
they do.
I think
so.
As a Pat, I'd see a quarterback for the future.
Yeah,
but I think tight end. If you see that guy down there at your pick for New England, or even in the later rounds, round 2 or 3, I think you got to go for tight end kind of early in the draft, or at least some form of, you know, someone to add to this receiving core. This receiving core was, without a doubt, in my opinion, the worst in the league.
Easily the worst. I mean, honestly, Bill, what the heck, dude? You couldn't have gone out there and gotten us some better receivers at all.
He gets 3 receivers. He throws for 40 touchdowns at age 43.
Granted, he had Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Mike Evans. So, I mean,
and
Gronk, but you know what I mean. But looking at him last year compared to this year, totally different situation. So Cam Newton, not set up in the best of situations. So to put the blame on him, I'm going to have to. Yeah, screw it. Why not? Cam sucked. Not going to lie. It was honestly very, very, I'm pissed off, dude. I'm really pissed off.
Of course. And receiving core was extremely subpar, but like you said, Chris, it does fall on Cam. You know, 8 touchdown passes and 15 starts is inexcusable, and 3 of which coming in the last week against the New York Jets. So,
absolutely.
8 touchdowns, 10 picks this year. I think he ran for like a dozen touchdowns. So that really did save his stock a little bit. But at the end of the day, I mean,
for weeks 15 and 16, they were already talking about. There was all talk throughout the media about benching him, and at that point, it's like, what the heck, you know? And they still went with him. So it just was, in my opinion, it was just Bill being like, you know what? Let the horse just finish the season. There's no point in stopping him now.
But we also saw Hoyer and Stidham, you know, get into games, and it's tough to say that they would have given the Patriots a better chance to win than Cam did. You know,
it's true. Because who could they go to? Both. Exactly. I'm going to be honest. Stidham sucks. Hoyer sucks. They both suck. All 3 suck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cam's the best of the bunch, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's not much you can do there. So, I mean, they go to 7-9, got a lot of work to do in the offseason, probably going to see James White go. I mean, there's going to be a lot of free cap space, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So they definitely, I'm pretty sure from what I've heard, they're going to have one of the highest salary caps, like the most open.
They were second to last year too, only behind Kansas City. So that's going to be huge for the Patriots. Hopefully get some help on the offense, because I think even if the Patriots have a semi-competent offense this year, because that's a 3-13 offense, if we're going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And the defense really held them back in a lot of those games. That's why they finished 7-9, which...
Yeah, and the rushing attack was there. That was the only thing they could really hold on to.
And looking at the roster, I think 7-9 was not too bad for this team in retrospect.
Honestly, it's not bad, but you know what? That's not winning. That's not.
It's not winning football, especially in this Patriot Nation county.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, especially in this division that's gotten more tighter and much more difficult to win with the emergence of the Bills Mafia. And then, of course, the Miami Dolphins really stepping it up this season. Yeah. New York Jets, they're a dumpster fire, so who cares about them? But comparing them to like the Washington football team, 7-9 in a crap division like that, Dallas Cowboys should have won. If Dak Prescott was there, cakewalk.
Dallas wins the division.
easily.
Washington have an elite defense. I'm not going to sell them short. They were very good defense. But New England, like we were just talking about, crap. I mean, good division for the first time, probably in the Bill Belichick era, that they actually had some real competition this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. Do you think Cam gets re-signed in the offseason?
I don't know. You think I know? You think I'm the GM? I have no clue. I mean, honestly, if I were to do it,
yeah, would you
ship the guy?
Ship
I
him.
don't know. If there's no options, sure, keep him. Give him another crappy contract. Who cares? Give him another 1-year deal. But because this guy knows he's not going to stay long.
Yeah.
He knows he's expendable at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, only time will tell, because, I mean, you can't get Trevor Lawrence unless you trade up. Bill's never going to do that, and he sucks at drafting. So it's who's he going to take? All the quarterbacks are going to go before he can even blink an eye. And Trevor Lawrence is really the only.
He's the only, surefire, put him in week 1 starter. I think Trevor Lawrence has potential to make the playoffs in his first year in the NFL, but Patriots, if he's going to be in a good situation, could possibly get Mac Jones from Alabama, maybe. I've seen a lot of mock drafts going to New England at 15, but it's tough to tell because Belichick has not drafted a quarterback in the first round in the Tom Brady era. He hasn't. Not the last time I remember, the highest quarterback he drafted was Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round.
Yeah,
2014. So it's gonna be tough to tell, but I think the Patriots got to look just to rebuild his offense in the offseason through the draft, through free agents, definitely defensive players too. That run defense struggled for a lot of the season as well. So just so many needs for this Patriots team. Still have a great coach in Bill Belichick. Has the best job security of any coach in the league, without a doubt. So he just got to make some moves and not be afraid to.
Yep. So only time will tell. Patriots missed the playoffs for the first time since 2010?
2008, where they finished 11-5 with Matt Castle.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of playoffs, we're going to come right back to that. We're going to hit a commercial break. Just sit back, relax, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. So see you real soon here on Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy.
We'll be right back.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. We hope you enjoyed those messages right there. You know what? It's time for sports. So we're going to hop right in.
Sports, baby.
Starting this Saturday at 1 o'clock is Wild Card Weekend. And you know what? This is something I've been looking forward to all season long, except obviously
we're not in this year.
Yeah, we're not in this year.
We're not. It's a year for us Patriots fans looking at January 6th, and they're already out. So,
but you know what? We're gonna stop talking about it because you know what? It doesn't matter. It's 1 year. It's 1 year. You can make fun of all of us Patriots fans for being upset about it.
We'll take our 6.
We'll take our 6, baby. We'll take it. So let's hop into the first matchup. We got the Colts and the Buffalo Bills, and to be honest, this is the spiciest matchup I see on this play card sheet here. I mean,
this is the best matchup. Arguably, Ravens. Actually, the AFC matchups are insane this week.
Incredible. They really are.
So good this year. 7 seed finishing 11-5. Think about it. Last year they would have missed the playoffs at 11-5. The Colts, which is unbelievable, and Dolphins were out there at 10-6. They missed the playoffs too. But this game, two very good teams. Two arguably contenders in my opinion. We have the 13-3 Bills, MVP candidate. Josh Allen.
He could be. You never know.
37 touchdown passes on the year, 4,544 yards. He elevated so much this season. and the Bills are first playoff home game since before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
2000, the
I mean,
1999 season.
I was 3 years old when that happened, and you and Matt were just being born.
Yeah,
So.
literally, it's crazy. Matt's his brother, by the way.
Yes, Matthew, he too is my brother. But you know what? Nothing can beat the Chet. So, but looking at this matchup here, I mean, you got Phillip Rivers, the old timer, really coming into this game. He's no stranger to the playoffs. He's been to the playoffs actually a few years ago with the LA Chargers when they were actually stomped by my New England Patriots. So, you know what? I think he's going to get stomped again.
Really?
I said from the start that the Colts were pretenders. And you know what? They were lucky they even got into this. Dolphins, their defense was solid. The problem was they should have stuck with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I say it all the time. Tua's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not yet. Ryan Fitzpatrick, they took him out when he was hot. You don't do that to a guy. How are you going to do a man like that? So, I mean, looking at this game, the Bills are going to steamroll them. Stephon Diggs led the league this year.
Really?
What's that? Yeah.
You think it'll be a steamroll?
He's going to carve them up with his legs, with his arm. He's going to get the run game involved with Singletary, with Moss. And then you've got Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. Like, these guys, lethal weapons. They get open all over the field, and he carves up defenses week in and week out. The Bills are too hot. I'm sorry, but the Colts, you're going to get stopped because Phil, you didn't start to figure out what the heck your offense was until the last 4 weeks of the season. Jonathan Taylor finally started to go off. You lose in a tight game to the Steelers when you're up by 17. That's unacceptable.
Up
That's
24-7. I think being in the third quarter, right? It was
yes.
That
going to
have. If you win that game, they win the division. You know, that's a whole different playoff picture if they don't blow that lead, which is crazy. But I think the Colts, I think you're selling a little bit short here. I'm taking the Bills are 7-point favorites right now, and if I'm a bettor, I'm taking Colts +7 in this game. I think it's a good Colts team. I think it really comes down to Buffalo's ability to run the ball versus the Colts' ability to stop the run.
I Q-tipped my ears earlier. Did I hear you right? Are you taking the Colts?
No, I'm not taking the Colts. Taking the Colts +7. I don't think Buffalo's can cover the spread. I got Buffalo winning the game. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close. I don't think they'll steamroll them, but
Bill's going to throw 3 picks this game. That defense is on fire. Tre'Davious White looking like
3 picks.
He's going to throw 3 picks. He's going to throw one of them to White and a couple to the rest of the defense. But you know what? That Bills team, they're just looking too good. They're at home. They're going to be pumped up. They're going to be ready. Absolutely. This is the first time they've been in the playoff. Well, not the first time they're going to be in the playoffs. First time they've ever won the division. That's huge in a long time. In
a very long time.
So you know what? They're coming into this
1995 before either of them born.
Yeah, they're going to come into this game hungry. And you know what? Yeah. They're just going to go off. And I think my final score prediction right now is going to be a final of 42-20 Bills.
42-20.
They're going to cover that spread by a mile.
Listen, Buffalo winners of their last 5 games in the regular season. I think this game is going to be close. I like Indy. Indy's beat some good teams this year. They beat Green Bay at home. They stomped over the Tennessee on the road back on that Thursday night game. This is going to be – I don't think it's going to be as much of a blow as you think. I think we're going to have a close opening game of Wild Card Weekend. But like I was saying earlier, this Colts run D is great. They're lethal. They're second in the league in rush defense, only behind Tampa Bay. Buffalo struggled to run the ball a lot this year. Devin Singletary struggled this year. Zach Moss, those guys, 21st rush offense in the league, Buffalo. And I think it's going to come out of that. I think Indy's going to get some stops. And if they can capitalize on those, they're going to make it a close game. But like we were talking about, Josh Allen on a roll. I don't think I've seen one player,
highest selling jersey in the league right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Josh Allen.
I actually had one of my friends tell me he couldn't even get one at Christmas. That's how, they were all sold out.
That's actually unbelievable. And for the Buffalo Bills, very loyal fan base, don't get me wrong, but
absolutely.
That's crazy that Josh Allen is the number one, leading jersey above Mahomes, above Rodgers, presumably the MVP this year.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen, I think they're going to throw maybe 3 touchdowns this game. He's a beast. Like I was saying, I don't think I've ever seen a rise as meteoric in his first 3 seasons as much as Josh Allen. A lot of concerns about his accuracy coming out of college. First year in the league, completed just over 50% of his passes, I believe, and now he's hovering around 70, which is unbelievable. And I just think he's a great talent, and Indy's going to keep it a close game. Their defense is elite. arguably second best in the league after maybe Pittsburgh. But I think it'll be Bills 26-21. I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, not if Chet has anything to say about it. Moving on, looking on to Rams versus Seahawks. We got
Smash
Jared
the under
Goff.
on this game. Smash the under on this game. This game is going to be a low-scoring game.
It is, because you're looking at Seattle hosting in their home stadium, but you're looking at a Rams defense that has been stout throughout
Number
the entire
one
year.
pass defense in the league.
Jalen Ramsey on fire. Aaron Donald on fire. Jared Goff,
Troy
not really.
Hill, a good corner too, you know.
But we'll see how Cam Akers does, because you know what? Towards the end of the year, when they start giving him more snaps, he got the ball moving. Chris Carson, coming off injury, he got the ball moving. Russell Wilson, slinging dimes all year long to Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Like, I mean, he's lethal. And he was the one who we were talking about could have been the MVP. But then, of course, your pick, I remember you said was Big Ben. But we'll get to that, because you know what? You're an idiot for calling that.
It was a troll. It was kind of a troll, but it was looking good. At 11-0, it was looking pretty good, the Big Ben troll prediction. I was doing it for the rate. I was doing it for the views, admittedly. Unapologetically, I'll admit that.
Yeah, you better. So looking at Russell Wilson, 40 touchdown passes this year. DK Metcalf leading the team in touchdown passes with receptions with 10 and 1,300 receiving yards. Jared Goff nearly breaking the 4,000-yard mark, threw for 20 TDs, 13 picks, though, to cap for that. So the touchdown-interception ratio, not great, but this Rams team has done just enough to stay alive in these games.
But the big question going into this game on Saturday at 4:40 is Goff going to play? And he didn't play last week against Cardinals. John Wolford got the start, an 18-7 win for LA, clinching the playoff berth. But if Goff's health is going to be the biggest factor in this game.
It's the playoffs, baby.
Broken thumb. That's a broken thumb, you know. That's tough.
Phillip Rivers played with a tore ACL against the Patriots.
He's tough.
So you know what? Quarterbacks, they fight through it.
Game.
He will. I know he'll play.
With John Wolford, I don't think they stand a chance. I think Seattle wins by a pretty sizable margin.
I thought you said it was going to be close. Now you're contradicting
yourself.
I
said it would be close. It'll still be a low-scoring game.
So what's the score?
Think about it. Back when they played the first time, the Rams won 23-16. They played a couple weeks ago when Goff got hurt. The Seahawks won 20-9.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be close. Not close. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I think with Goff, the Seahawks maybe win by, 4 maybe. I'll take them 21-17. And without Goff, I think the Seahawks maybe win 28-9. You can go either way. I don't really see the offense being productive with John Wolford under center.
Absolutely. I mean, the Seahawks, they've cooled off really towards the end of the year. They were really putting up points early on in the season. But you know what? I think as the season went on, the fatigue finally picked up. They still managed to win games. They're 12-4 going into the postseason in a great position to really make a Super Bowl run. Yeah, a lot of close games. But now you have a fully healthy Jamal Adams. You got Bobby Wagner there. Yeah, you got Bobby Wagner there calling the plays on defense. Even though they've given up some of the most passing yards to quarterbacks this season, I mean, I think this team's going to be pumped up to be home for this playoff game because they played.
Jamal Adams got hurt at the end of last week's game. He hurt his shoulder at the end of last game against the 49ers. So hopefully his health is good. I mean, he's a huge factor, obviously, but I honestly think the Seahawks win this game either way.
If I had to call this game right now, it's probably going to be close if Goff plays, which I think more than likely he will. I think I'm going to call the final score of 28-24 Seahawks. 24.
That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, definitely.
Lower than that, honestly. But it's the playoffs. We're going to see a lot of intensity from each of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
A tough playoff loss last year to Green Bay, a game in which I thought they'd win and go to the NFC Championship. But this is Russell's revenge tour. Russell Wilson coming into this postseason and falling out of that MVP race probably after that first Rams game, really, where he struggled a lot. I think he threw 2 picks and no touchdown pass. So that really kind of took him out of kind of trickled him down the race, and his trajectory was going downwards after that.
Mm-hmm.
I like him a lot this game. They're at home. They won the division. They beat him a couple weeks ago already, so I think they have too much momentum to lose this game. I'm going to take Seattle in a low-scoring and possibly close one, depending on Goff's health.
Yeah, Chet and Duffy agreeing on something for once.
Great point about Cam Akers, though.
Now, segueing our way into our last Saturday night game, Buccaneers versus the Washington football team, hosted by the football team. Unfamiliar for the most part, but you know what? like, honestly, I don't think there's any way of stopping Tom Brady. The way he's looked the last 2 weeks, on fire. I mean, look at this. This is the only Washington. This is the only Redskins.
Chris, tell them where you bought this. Tell them how you got that hoodie, by the way.
Actually bought it in DC on a We the People trip because you know what? I pay attention to politics like most of you.
Also, safety for everybody in Washington right now. A lot of protests going on in the Capitol.
So hopefully you're not part of it
right now. But
anyways, taking this Redskins sweatshirt, it's going in the dumpster because you know what? That's what this team is. They are dumpster like the rest of the NFC East. In this matchup, they're a good team. They've just got ways to go because the thing is, Alex Smith, who's he got to go to? J.D. McKissick? Terry McLaurin's great. J.D. McKissick. What's that?
You ever hear of Terry McLaurin?
I just mentioned him. But you know what? The Bucs, they're going to smoke this team. I don't care what you say. The Bucs, they've come to play every single week. Brady, last week to Antonio Brown, they're clicking. They're clicking all day long. Brown with 11 catches last week. Unbelievable. He got a bonus for it, for crying out loud. 3
shovel passes at the end of the game to AB to get him that $250,000 connection. Those are really clicking. And, you know, it sucks for us, the Patriots fans, because we saw a little glimpse of it back in week 2 last year, that TB AB connection. Only a game lived, but I'm really glad these two reconnected somewhere in Tampa Bay.
Brady with 4,633 passing yards, 40 TDs with 12 interceptions, and Mike Evans with 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. I mean, this team, they're
lethal, but Mike Evans is likely may not play, still nursing that injury that he suffered against the Falcons last week. Even without Mike Evans, I think the Bucs do win this game. And shout out to the NFL for putting Brady in that prime time slot. I know they love that. TB12.
Gotta get the views, baby.
Exactly, but I'm not going to sell this Washington team too short. You know, they won a lot of big games this season. They beat Pittsburgh on the road, which was huge. I actually picked them to win that game. Remember that we bet $5 on that. I picked Washington to win that game over Pittsburgh.
You may not see that money, but we'll see.
I think you did pay me, but I don't remember.
Well, then there you go. I paid you. But to call this game right now, I'm going to go with a final score of 31-17 Bucs.
Yeah, I think it'll be somewhere around there. I do like this Washington defense a lot. You know, they have guys like Chase Young rushing the passer, number 2 pass defense in the league, only behind LA. This defense is elite, and they're going to be elite for years to come with the core they have. Good linebackers, good defensive backs. They're all around well on defense, but that offense, 29th in the league or 30th in the league this year. Not a very good offense. Alex Smith makes him a lot better. You know, a lot of those stats are kind of thwarted by those Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen starts. I mean, but Alex Smith makes the team a whole lot better. He's got the veteran experience. Year 16 for him, comeback player of the year without a doubt. But I don't think they have enough firepower to, you know, beat Tampa Bay this week.
Really take on Tom Brady.
Yeah, the Bucs winners of 4 in a row. You know, they're hot.
They're looking hot. They're looking as hot as the Bills. So I mean,
as hot as the Bills, and you know, with this offense, they're without a doubt, in my opinion, the most lethal in the NFC on paper. I think Green Bay challenges them a little bit, not a little bit. They challenge them a lot, but on paper, this offense is elite. There's so many weapons around, and Mike Evans. I don't really see a rush for him to come back this week because I think this is a game in which they should win. But I'm going to take a final score of 28-16 in favor of Tampa Bay. I think the Bucs win by 12, and they're going to go on to the divisional round.
24-16.
28-16.
That's disrespectful. Anyways,
that's disrespectful. The Washington defense is nice.
I know it could be a lot closer than we both realize.
You never know. You know, these last two, you know, losing record division winning teams, the 2014 Panthers, 2010 Seahawks, they won the first round of the playoffs. And both against solid teams. You know, that 2010 Seattle team, they beat the reigning Super Bowl champs and Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints at the time. So I'm not going to count this Washington team out. I think they're a good team. They've won a lot of close games at the end of the year. They beat a couple of good teams, and they're going to keep it close for a little bit. But I think Bucs are going to pull away at the end of the game and win.
Absolutely. Well, that concludes our coverage on Saturday night's game. So when we get back from the commercial break, we will give you our outlook on Sunday's matchup here on a wild card weekend. See you after the break. All right, welcome back to Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy here on the Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island. I'm your host, Chet and Duffy. Welcome back from the break. So now we're going to hop into Sunday's matchups, which are going to be pretty spicy, especially the first game. I mean, we got some great matchups this weekend. Starting us off is the Ravens versus the Titans. I think this is the one I am most excited for, Duffy. I don't know about you.
Chet, honestly, rematch of last year's divisional round, which the Titans upset the Ravens, which was the biggest upset all last season. Honestly, they beat not just
the playoffs, really. Everything you could have predicted to the T.
Yeah, they handily beat them last year in the playoffs, 28-12. Derrick Henry, he's been a beast all year. He ran all over the Ravens last year, beat him this year in overtime on that touchdown run. Had 133 yards in that game. He's been the best player, offensive player, probably in the NFL this year. I think he's the lead for offensive player of the year. But going into this game, it's gonna be a close game, and honestly, I'm taking the Ravens.
Honestly, I don't know. I can't stray away from my boy Derrick Henry and the Titans this year because, I mean, Derrick Henry just joined the 2,000-yard rushing club. Ryan Tannehill's been able to really stand in the pocket and make some tough passes to A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, and the bunch of them. I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they don't end up one-dimensional with Derrick Henry just running the ball and the Ravens shutting them down. But you know what? I think this Titans offense knows what they're doing. They're coming in with a pretty good coaching staff. And, I mean, I think they're ready to go. I think they've got what it takes to take down Baltimore again and embarrass Lamar Jackson.
You think there's going to be an embarrassment?
I don't think embarrassed, but you know what I mean.
Shut up.
It's going to be a close game.
But Lamar's on a tear now. 5 straight wins close out the regular season for the Ravens.
Great. Especially that Browns game, man. Wow.
That Browns game, that's arguably the game of the year.
Yeah.
What a great game that was. The Ravens can keep up with any team in the NFL still. 14-2 last year, 11-5 this year. They're not as good as they were last year, obviously, but Titans have gotten a little bit better. And I think this is the most evenly matched matchup of the whole weekend. I think it's gonna go in the Ravens' favor, honestly. And I just think Lamar's on a tear. He's on a vengeance. He's trying to prove all his haters wrong. I've never seen any MVP get as much hate the next year as Lamar Jackson has.
Yeah.
This year. So, obviously only 2,700 passing yards. I think like 26 touchdown passes this year.
Yeah, but I mean, 1,005 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, 1,005 rushing yards. You back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. That's the type of guy Lamar is. And the Ravens leading league rushing yards again this year. I think around 192 yards per game this year, which is an absurd number.
Mm-hmm.
They're going over the Titans defense, which has struggled a lot this year. They started 5-0. They finished the season 6-5, and a lot of that had to do with their defense. And last week against the Texans, a lot of their holes were shown again. Allowed 38 points. We're up 17 and they're up 31-14 in the third quarter. They were down 35-31 a few minutes later, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think what it'll come down to in this game really is, can Lamar really spread that ball?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Titans are going to try and do a lot of disguises on that defense to really try and make him make a mistake. Because, I mean, that receiving core still doesn't look that great. I mean, Mark Andrews is real. Yeah, Mark Andrews has fallen silent, really, as the years
Hollywood
gone on.
Brown is the bright spot, I would say, in their receiving core.
He only caught he had 58 receptions for 769 yards, 8 touchdowns, though, to finish off the season.
I mean, it's a respectable year, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, it just come down to that a lot. The Titans, one of the worst pass defense in the league. I think they're like 5th to last in defense total. And I think the Ravens are going to run all over them. You know, almost 200 yards rushing per game. Baltimore does not lie. But if there's anyone in the league that's going to keep up with that, it's Derrick Henry. So the Ravens can just stop Derrick Henry because we've seen last from the playoffs for the Titans. Just give Henry the ball. That was their game plan pretty much. It worked for the first 2.5 games. Obviously, second half against Kansas City in the AFC Championship didn't really work too well.
But I mean, in that divisional round, when he stiff-armed the hell out of Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas.
Wow.
He's not on the team anymore. Maybe it was the Earl Thomas curse, but
yeah, it could be. But I mean, honestly, Derrick Henry, when he gets that ball, he runs that ball like he's on a revenge tour, really, man. I mean, he just grounds and pounds like no other running back I've ever seen. And I think it's tough to say. I mean, obviously, a running back's career nowadays, it's tough to really say if they'll fall off or not, or if they'll just skyrocket into the Hall of Fame.
I don't see this dude falling off one bit.
I just don't. But I mean, you never know. But I mean, with Adrian Peterson, for instance, did the same thing he did, and he's jumped around the teams. But you know what? He's still getting plays. He's still making plays, even in his old age. And you know what? Derrick Henry's one of those backs. It's going to be tough. He's probably going to be their guy for years to come.
Yeah.
But sticking with this game and what it means, I really think the Titans want a title. Like I said, we talked about this on First Things Last. I said they were definitely one of the big teams to beat this year in the AFC in the AFC playoffs. So I mean,
we ranked them as one of the better undefeated teams at one point when they were 5-0. So that's a really good football team. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes down to it, the brass tacks, I really think the Titans have what it takes to take down this Ravens team, but it's going to be a battle because that defense is tough. And Lamar, like we said, 5 straight wins, looking incredible on this stretch. So I mean,
the winner.
We'll see if they run out of steam here, but I mean, right now, I think I'm going to take the Titans with a final score of 28-25.
I'm going to take the Ravens 23-20. Justin Tucker from 53 to win the game.
Tuck, baby.
I mean, it's going to be a close game. It's my favorite game of the whole weekend, don't without a doubt. And especially the game they played last year and the game they played back in week 11, which was super close. I just don't see Lamar losing this team 3 times in a row. I think John Harbaugh's going to, get his troops ready. He's going to pull the team together, watch that grueling playoff loss from last year and really learn from it. So I'm going to take the Ravens in a very close game, and they're going to get their vengeance and move on to the divisional round and probably play Kansas City.
Well, I hate Baltimore.
I just want to see a Chiefs-Ravens divisional round too. So that would be amazing.
That would be pretty amazing. But you know what? I hate Baltimore, so I don't really care. I really just want to see this.
I hate them as much as I used to, but
no, I still do.
I think it's better for the league if Lamar's in the postseason too.
Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. But moving on to a Bears Saints matchup.
Is this the biggest mismatch of the weekend?
I mean,
it's tough because back when these two teams played, and Nick Foles took them to overtime and almost won the game. So
I'm calling this game already. I'm going Saints right off the bat. I mean, the Saints.
Kamara may still have COVID.
But regardless, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think for me, I just think Drew Brees, he's back. He's ready to go. Despite having that injury, he still played a very solid few weeks. That rushing attack's still there. And I think they're going to throw some packages with Taysom Hill in there to really get this Bears defense that, honestly, they're great. They're a good defense. They really are. But that offense, shaky. I don't trust
them in games, too. So
I don't trust Mitch Trubisky a bit. I really don't. I mean, it's just he's come in. He's done a good job since Nick Foles was injured. But I mean, like, regardless, Allen Robinson's not enough for you to win a game. I'm sorry. And David Montgomery, he's done really well. I mean,
these last 3 weeks, but that Saints run defense is still one of the most elite in the league.
Montgomery, 1,070 yards and 8 touchdowns this year. That's very good for a running back, especially
probably around 350 plus of them came in the last 3 weeks. So.
Yeah, but then you look at Alvin Kamara, 932 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns. But granted, 6 of them came from one game. So
you would have hit 1,000 if he played last week. So
yeah, he definitely would have. So
he'll play this week. It'll be great for the Saints, and it'll really put him over the edge. Me and you, obviously, I think we both have the Saints winning this game at
Yeah.
home, Superdome. I'm going to take them winning this game 35-17. I don't think it'll be that close.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. I'm probably going to go with a score of 33-10.
33-10.
Yeah, I think the Saints are just going to
This
dominate
game is
them.
going to be on Nickelodeon too, by the way, which is going to be funny.
You think the kids are going to help the Bears? Like, come on, dude.
You're going to watch and be like, "Oh my god, this game is a blowout." It's going to be funny.
But regardless, the Saints, they play so well in the Superdome. They really do.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable in the Superdome. So I mean, for
Suck
them,
fans obviously, but it's still one of the most advantageous home fields in the league. So
this isn't the Minnesota Vikings. This isn't. I'm telling you, this year the Saints are going to come hungry, and it's going to start with this game. They could make the Super Bowl for all we know because they have been one of the more consistent teams in the league. They're the number 2 seed right now. So I mean, this is their moment to really set the stakes for what their team's going to bring going further down the line into the postseason. So they're going to start by dominating this Bears team and ripping apart that defense.
And most likely it's Breeze's last season. He has the contract with NBC lined up from after he retires. Maybe they can send out on top and win a couple of games. I think they got this game pretty handily. And can't wait to see SpongeBob and Patrick on the play-by-play on Sunday afternoon.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that joke.
Hey, I'm not commentating the game.
Get the heck out of here.
They have it on CBS with Jim Nantz and Romo and all of them. They have it on Nickelodeon. I swear to God.
All right. I'll pretend you didn't say that joke once again.
Not a joke.
Yeah, you joke, but it sucks. All right. Looking at our final game of the weekend.
Game of the week.
Arguably. Browns, Steelers. A game where they both matched up, I believe it was in week 5.
Yeah,
and 38-7 in Pittsburgh. The Steelers, they've really fallen off as the season's gone on. 11-0 at one point. The team and now they settled for a 12-4 record, which is great by argument. I mean, I personally like the record. They managed to make a great comeback against the Indianapolis Colts to secure the AFC North and win that division.
That was a huge game for them.
That really was. So, I mean, this really sets the tone for them coming into this one. But look at Baker Mayfield coming into this one. Throughout the season, he was throwing for around 100 yards a game, at least 150. But you know what?
Cam Newton, inconsistent, passing yard numbers.
He did. And that's the thing. It was the Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt show. But you know what?
The Titans, though, where Baker threw 4 touchdowns the other week, that really put the Browns, and the week after against the Ravens too, that really put the Browns as well. These guys can really contend. They are no joke. These guys can win games. They can really put up a lot of points on offense. Their offense come together. All those names they have, even without having OBJ, it's going to be a close game.
I was just going to mention that OBJ goes down with an ACL tear, and Baker Mayfield suddenly is on fire with just Jarvis Landry, and T. Higgins, or Rashard Higgins, and Austin Hooper.
Jones. Lost me $25 one game. I bet the Bengals over the Browns. Lost me $25.
But the thing is Baker Mayfield, he's gotten stronger as the season's gone on, and he's kept it close in games. And you know what? I think he's starting to come around into a much more mature quarterback that we can trust going into the postseason. But you know what? I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to blow them out. But you know what? Pittsburgh is going to put their foot down because they are at home. I think they're going to be down at first. I think they're going to be down 10-0. But then they're going to eventually bring their way right back into that one and weave their way through the smoke screen that is the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns are going to go crying back to Cleveland and lose this game with a final score of 28-24.
Honestly, Chet, I got a hot take to end the show. I think the Browns go into Pittsburgh and win the game.
Whoo!
Browns 11-5. The best tandem of running in the league, without a doubt. Pittsburgh is the worst rushing attack in the league, only averaging 85 rush yards a game. And the last half of the season, they were terrible running the ball. Could not run the ball at all. James Conner got COVID for a couple weeks at one point, but inexcusable.
You're going against your MVP call, dude. Are you sure you want
to
do
that? That was like 4 months ago.
I don't know, man. I'm still on you.
Neither of us thought the Browns make the playoffs. They're a good team. Even though Kevin Stefanski will not be coaching this game, he did contract the coronavirus this week.
I may be a Chet, but I'm not a Duffy. And you know
may
what?
be a Duffy, but I'm not a Chet.
I'm going against you on this.
Do the piece of poop Chet meme.
That'll come soon. Well, you guys will see that later on. That's a good joke that we'll bring to the show. But keeping it with that big piece of poo, that's basically what the Cleveland Browns are. Browns poo. That's what that team is. And you know what? They're going to go crying back to that dump of a city called Cleveland.
Without which either, no matter side you're taking this game, this is going to be must-watch TV. This is the Cleveland Browns, one of the most historic franchises in the league. Playing their first in 18 years. 18 years.
Yeah.
New look Browns team. I think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say, I want to say 23-20 again, honestly.
23-20.
And we get 2 AFC North Sunday winners, 23-20 victories. And I got a good feeling about the Browns. The Steelers team has looked bad these last few weeks. They've increasingly grown easier to defend. Watching them Steelers play, it's a lot of 3-yard drag routes, by Juju Smith-Schuster and
Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson.
Are legitimately only deep threat now, honestly. And the Browns can shut the Steelers passing game down because their run game is pretty weak this last half of the year.
Yeah.
I think the Browns can go into Pittsburgh with a legitimate chance to win Sunday night and maybe play Kansas City the week after.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more of a conservative guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, I mean, I only take hot takes when I really see the opportunity. You know what? Yeah. I don't see an opportunity with this one.
We can bet 5 on you right now.
On a live stream. You want to bet $5? All right. I'll take you on that since I paid you for the last one.
Yeah.
And this time,
I have a net of plus 10 against you.
And
I have a net of plus 10 against you.
Well, you know what? $5 is fine by me. Who knows? Maybe we'll bet 50 one time on the show.
Yeah, we'll bet 50 for the
Let us know in the comments if you want to see that.
If we have opposing views for the Super Bowl, we'll bet 50. Last year we both had the Chiefs.
If I can afford it, we'll say not.
If we can allocate the funds, we'll throw down 50 on it.
I'll ship it from an offshore account.
We'll throw a nice Ulysses S. Grant bill on it.
But yeah, looking at this one, honestly, I don't see an opportunity to pick the Browns, really. I mean, the Browns, they're good.
Yeah,
I just think Pittsburgh has just too much leverage being at home, and I think that defense is ready to do some work, and especially since they made it into the postseason this year with a healthy Big Ben and a healthy offense, I think they're going to be ready to go, and I think they're going to try and get to the divisional round to host a game. But we'll see. Only time will tell.
Buffalo wins. You got to go to Buffalo, so we'll see.
Well,
can't wait for my Venmo.
Yeah, we'll see. If anything, I'm getting my $5 back.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyways, thank you all for tuning in to Unapologetic with me, Chet, and my stupid counterpart, Duffy. No, I'm just kidding, my man.
I'm a little bit stupid. We all are a little bit.
I'm a little dumb too, but
yeah.
Well, but anyways, thank you for tuning into Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy here on the Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island. You can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We'll be putting this live stream up on there so you can view it. And we'll be hosting this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So hopefully we see you all next week. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all. Go Pats.
Thank you, guys. Go Pats. And make sure you tune into Wildcard Weekend. It's going to be a hell of a weekend. And the first 6-game Wildcard Weekend we're going to have for many years to come.
Absolutely. Good luck from Chat.
And Duff. Bye-bye.